Good evening. Welcome to the regular Piqua City Commission meeting, February 1st, 2022. I'd like to start off with a call to order. Just done. We'll roll into the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty, justice for all.
Now, will the clerk call the roll, please?
Commissioner Hines?
Here.
Commissioner Grissom?
Here.
Mayor Fote?
Here.
Commissioner Pearson?
Here.
Commissioner Lee?
He is absent. Can I have
Make a motion to dismiss or excuse Commissioner Lee from the meeting.
Second.
have a motion and seconded? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries. Next on the agenda, have a proclamation honoring Catholic Schools Week. This is something that Piqua has done historically for years. I have the proclamation here in front of me. Is there anybody here to receive the proclamation this evening? If you would, please come down to the front. Introduce yourself for us, please.
Yeah. My name is Brad Zimmerman. I'm the principal of Piqua Catholic School.
Thank you for coming this evening. Proclamation reads as, whereas each year the Archdiocese of Cincinnati designates 1 week during the year to highlight Catholic schools, and in 2022, the week designated will be January 30th through February 5th. And whereas since 1853, Piqua has had a Catholic school, and today Piqua Catholic School is an example that is a religious-based school, can withstand the test of time and change. And whereas a Catholic school education is highly valued and has played a significant role in the lives of many families and the Piqua community, and whereas the presence of Catholic school in our community has proven to be an additional amenity and an incentive in the economic development of the city of Piqua, and whereas Piqua Catholic School is fully accredited by the Ohio Catholic Accrediting Association, serving students in the preschool through 8th grade that consistently achieve above average in national testing, and whereas the school has open enrollment and welcomes students from other communities and other religions, and the intimate environment at Piqua Catholic School affords each child personal attention and promotes individual success, self-esteem, growth, and whereas the legacy of Piqua Catholic School will live on for many years thanks to the dedicated administrators, teachers, and students, as well as a very supportive community. Now therefore I, Thomas Fote, Mayor of the City of Piqua, Ohio, do hereby proclaim January 30th through February 5th, 2022 as celebrating Catholic School Week in the City of Piqua. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Here you go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Would you like to share anything?
Just thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
I really
you.
appreciate the support.
Thank you. Best wishes in this school year.
Next, we have 2 items on the consent agenda.
Approval of the minutes from the January 4, 2022 regular Piqua City Commission meeting, and resolution number R-3-22, a resolution appointing members to the Ad Hoc Community Diversity Committee.
Any questions on the approval of the minutes from the commission? Any questions from the citizens? Nothing on that. We'll move on to resolution number R-3.
I make a motion, we approve the
sorry.
consent agenda. Sorry.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. And then moving on to resolution number R-3-22.
Nope, that was part of the consent agenda.
Consent agenda.
Yeah, that.
It is. For that resolution, just so everybody's aware, that's the ad hoc committee on the diversity committee. I will be reaching out to all the members by later this week to let them know when the first meeting will be on that. So thank for everybody that applied to that, and look forward to getting it stood up. And you guys will be meeting with Commissioner Lee on that in the very first meeting. He'll be the commissioner that heads that committee. So look forward to hearing from me, and we look forward to having you guys come on board. Next, we will move on to old businesses. There are 2 items there.
Ordinance number O-6-21 amended. An ordinance repealing Schedule A1 of Chapter 33 of the Piqua Code and adopting a new Schedule A1 of Chapter 33 of the Piqua Code relating to wages of certain municipal employees. Catherine Bogan will be presenting the staff report.
Thank you. Good evening, Commissioners. The Commission had approved this agenda item most recently on December 14th of 2021. This is an error correct this evening on Schedule A1, which reflects our part-time, seasonal, and temporary employees. The position of storekeeper was presented during the first reading with the correct rate. However, on the second and third reading, that rate did not carry over, and I apologize for that error. So we're simply correcting that this evening to set the storekeeper classification at the appropriate rate. With your approval, I would like to recommend and request a waive of the second and third reading, if you all are amenable to that.
Can you explain what the storekeeper is? I think some people might hear that and not understand what that position might entail, being that it is in the power system.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
It is a position that is specifically assigned to the power department. Ed Krager, our director, utilizes a multitude of different resources, systems and equipment that are unique to his department. And so this position monitors inventory, par levels, and it's almost a full-time job, but we do utilize it as a part-time capacity, but it's very important to his department.
Great, thank you. We know that, but I just wanted to make sure the average citizen understood what that was.
Sure.
Thanks.
Any other questions from the commission? Any questions from the citizens?
Do we got to waive a second and third reading for an amendment?
I do not know.
Okay. Well, I'll make a motion to waive the second and third reading rule.
I'll second.
The waive the reading rule has been motioned and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you.
So I make a motion that we approve ordinance number O-6-21 amended.
Second. Second, correct.
I don't know.
Can the mayor second?
Yeah.
Sure,
Okay.
why not? We'll learn as we go along here. So ordinance number O-6-21 has been motioned and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Next, we have resolution number R-116-21 amended, a resolution authorizing temporary loan of cash from the general fund to the other funds for the fiscal year 2021 as amended. Ben Gooden, Acting Finance Director, will be presenting the staff report.
Thank you very much. So I'm bringing this resolution back to increase the temp transfer loan from the general fund to our grant CHIP loan fund by $25,000. This is due to a late payment in the year that was missed when calculating this the first time around. This fund is a reimbursable fund. The extra funds that we're transferring has already been requested for reimbursement, and we should be getting those soon. Thank you.
Any questions from the commissioners? Any questions from the citizens? No questions, I'll take a motion.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution R-116-21.
Second?
Motion and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. And I hate to do this, but we need to go back to ordinance number -06-21. With that being an ordinance, we do have to take a roll call on that.
Good point.
Okay. Commissioner Pearson,
Aye.
Mayor Fote,
Aye.
Commissioner Grissom,
Aye.
Commissioner Hines.
Aye.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is new business.
So first up, we have resolution number R-4-22, a resolution establishing a Piqua City Commission 2022 calendar of meetings.
Paul, do you want to present this?
Sure, I can do that. And so what we wanted to do this year was have better communication with the residents about the commission meeting structures. Included in that would be establishing some work sessions so that we can conduct business during the regular meetings and have work sessions that would be topical focus depending on what was brought before the commission, and allow input at that time from the residents as well. So it should open up and increase our transparency going from the work session meetings, every other meeting, to taking care of business during the regular commission meeting.
Thank you very much. And for those of you that want to look something into this, if you guys look at the Miami County Commissioners, this is a framework that they've utilized for years. And it absolutely works. It's awesome because it allows the commission to go in and engage what they need to engage on the business meeting. And then on the offside, when they open it up for public comment on the other meeting per month, there's a lot more public comment that happens in that. So I'm glad to see that we're moving towards a calendar of this magnitude, hoping that we can draw more citizens into our meetings so we can talk about day-to-day issues that the citizens have. So I'm excited about this. And with the approval tonight from the commission, we'll get this thing posted out to the city as soon as possible. That way everybody can start tracking our meetings and understand what's going on. So with that being said, are there any questions from the commissioners at this time?
The only question I have is clarification for that first meeting of the year. Down at the bottom, it says all regular meetings and work sessions are scheduled to begin at 6 p.m. I just want to make sure, is that first meeting going to be 6? It's always confusing, so.
Right, I don't think we addressed that in the charter, and so,
Actually, the Charter Review Committee has addressed that, but it hasn't been passed yet.
there you go. Yeah, so it'll be reset come this time next year, to 6 p.m.
Okay, perfect.
If it passes
If
the
it
charter
passes
review,
the charter review,
correct.
okay. Okay, great.
Any other questions? Are there any questions from the citizens? With no questions, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion, we approve resolution number R-4-22.
Second. Motion and second, and all those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Next resolution is resolution number R-5-22, a resolution to levy assessments to pay for the cost of nuisance abatement. Amy Welker, Director of Health and Sanitation, will be presenting the next two staff reports.
Good evening, Commissioners. Throughout the year, the city abates nuisance conditions on properties for things such as high grass, trash and debris, trimming trees, that type of thing, according to city code. What happens is property owners receive a notice that they're in violation of a city code, and they're given a time frame to comply. If they fail to do so, then the city will abate that condition, hire a contractor, or what have you, and then that cost is billed back to the owner. If they fail to pay that bill, then it shows up here, according to city code, to be placed on the property taxes. So tonight before you is assessments to reimburse the city $22,806.
Sorry, I was just sitting here reviewing the list again.
It's nice to see that this is getting smaller. I mean, I think about how many pages it was initially, so that's a good thing.
So I know we talked about this, I'd brought it up, I think back maybe early summer about publishing this. Is that something that was ever looked into, or
It is published on the city's website.
Yeah.
So each time that it comes before the commission, it's put out. We've not published it in the newspaper in its entirety, I think because of cost.
Okay. All righty, thank you. Are there any other questions from the commissioners? Any questions from the citizens? With no questions, I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion and adopt resolution R dash, make sure I got the right one, 5-22.
Second?
Motion and second, and all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Next, we have resolution number R-6-22, a resolution authorizing the donation of pool equipment to Tecumseh Woods Swim Club.
I'd like to make a motion that we table this to have a little further discussion before we put it back on the agenda.
Second. Any questions from the commissioners on the table? If there's no questions at this point in time, I'll take a motion to table resolution number R-6-22.
I make the motion to do so.
And I second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Resolution number R-6-22 is tabled for right now, and we'll come back and talk with city staff and the city manager in regards to this.
Next on new business is resolution number R-7-22, a resolution awarding a contract to Shock Manufacturing for the purchase of an inlet structure and enclosure doors for number 8 gas turbine. Ed Krieger, Power System Director, will be presenting the staff report.
Thank you. Actually, tonight represents a milestone. We started a rehabilitation program into the city's vintage gas turbines back in 2011. These units are over 50 years old, served the city well, but as the economics changed in terms of how we buy power, it became obvious that there was a huge benefit economically of being able to operate these units at a time when the loads are high to peak shave. And by doing so, we're able to save $1.5 to $2 million a year annually by running these units at the appropriate time. We usually run both units 30 to 40 hours a summer. The one unit's just south of the power plant, and then the other's up at northeast corner of town there at 25A and I-75. In 2011, we started the project, rehabilitation project with new control systems. Last year, we came to the commission to replace the exhaust on number 8 gas turbine, and this year, really the final major item is replacing the inlet structure. These items are, like I said, over 50 years old, severely deteriorated. They're made of carbon steel, and the replacements are upgrades using better material, stainless steel. And by making this replacement, we'll have many more years of service. Last year, we utilized Shock Manufacturing to replace the exhaust, and we're recommending we do the same with the inlet structure this year. This item was before the Piqua Energy Board last Tuesday, and unanimously recommended for commission approval at tonight's meeting.
Are there any questions from the commissioners?
I just want to point out, I think Ed's done a really good job on restoring these equipment to the condition that they're in, and knowing that they're going to be able to serve our citizens for quite some time and help shaving the costs and keeping our rates steady. I did challenge them to look into the future and see what we can do to make sure, at some point these engines aren't going to be able to sustain for life, but he's done a really good job to make sure that they're going to be there to support us for a good while. But what can we do to plan ahead and make sure that we can keep those costs to a minimal, as you have done and over the years? So I appreciate all the hard work they've done with it.
Thank you. We've a lot of dedicated employees, Tim Angle and his staff that run these units in the summer. It's not an easy job. Especially when you think about the fact that you're using operating equipment that's over 50 years old. So it's been kind of a labor of love to get these units back to where they need to be. They're more reliable now than they have ever been in the time that I've been here. They're a great asset for the city. They both have valid operating permits with the EPA, and You know, it's part of our mission to keep our power costs low. Our power supply costs are 75% of our customers' electric bills, so it's very important. So these are a key component of that strategy.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions from the commissioners? Any questions from the citizens? With no questions, I'll entertain
You got one?
Yes, ma'am.
How much is it? What's the cost on this?
For this item in particular, it's budgeted at, was it 450,000?
And that, Ed, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but that and also includes those two doors
Yeah,
that were at a minimal
there's
cost.
a $25,000 included in that purchase order to replace additional doors. The doors that we've been replacing over the last 2 years, this will complete the replacement, all the deteriorating doors on the enclosure. And individually, those are $2,000 to $3,000 apiece, so probably be an additional 5 or 6 doors.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? With no other questions, I will entertain a motion.
I move that we adopt Resolution R-7-22.
I'll
Second.
Tie, man.
Motion is moved and seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next, we will move on to, this portion is for public comment. Is there anybody that would like to address the commission this evening? Nothing for this evening, so we will move on to the city manager report.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commissioners. This evening, I have Brian Brookhart with me to talk about the storm that's going to take place this week and do a wrap-up on our storm event that they just got done taking care of on the 24th and 5th. Give us a cost on that, as well as our preparedness for this next round.
Thank you and good evening. As you're all well aware, there is a pretty good potential that we're going to see our most significant snowstorm that we've seen this season. Here, starting sometime late tomorrow, running through Thursday and early on Friday. There's a potential that we're definitely going to see rain. We could see sleet and freezing rain and ice after that. And then on top of that, we could possibly get up to 10 to 12 inches of snow. So we're very likely going to see everything that you could possibly see during a weather event in about a 24-hour period. So I just wanted to inform you and the citizens that we're well prepared for this event. We have two shifts staffed. We'll be running 24 hours a day as soon as we need to start to do that. We'll run a shift from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. will be our first shift, and a second shift will be from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. That's when we'll be switching employees to keep our staff fresh, make sure that they stay safe when they're out on the roadway. Just a little information, over the last snow event that happened on the 24th and the 25th, just so everybody's aware, the total cost of that event, this includes salt that we used, our employees, the cost, recovery for using our vehicles. That snow event total was about $10,448.34 for that event. We used approximately, we didn't use a lot of salt. We used about 71 tons of salt for that event. So far this year, we've been very fortunate. We've used less than 150 tons of salt so far this season. I anticipate we're going to use a little bit here over the next day or so, probably a little bit more than we have so far this year. But we are well stocked. About a week ago, I ordered an additional 400 tons of salt. It only took about 5 days to get that supply in, so our salt shed is completely full, and we are well stocked and well prepared for this snow event coming up here. just so you and the citizens are aware of what we do and how we do it, how we go about treating the roadways, what we look at as priorities, what we look at as secondary streets, just so everybody's aware of that. This is something that we'll get this published out on the website so people can go there and look at that and understand this is what we prioritize and try to take care of first. The streets that we look at as priority streets are, we look at, what does emergency personnel need to use to get to every subdivision, to get to areas of town, to safely get back and forth and get you wherever you need to be, getting you to whatever hospital or outside of town. So we look at those roadways first. We spend the most time on those, try to keep those treated as best as possible during the event. After the event is done, it stops snowing. We go through and we clean all the mains up from curb to curb. We salt everything. And then after that, we go into the secondary roadways and do the same thing. I anticipate this event will get drug out a little bit. It'll be a long snow event. It will be difficult for us to deal with. Secondary roads, I would not anticipate seeing asphalt possibly for several days, maybe even a little bit longer after that. There's going to be a lot of wind that's going to come in with this storm. So there will be blowing and drifting that we're going to have to deal with. I think it's going to be a heavy, wet snow that'll make it a little more difficult to deal with and get rid of. So I just want everybody to be prepared for that. We will do the best that we can to get everything cleared up, cleaned up, and treated. But the weather will be against us afterwards because the temperatures are going to drop over the weekend. Friday night, it's going to get into the single digits to near -2 degrees. On Saturday night, it's going to be even colder than that. So it'll definitely be difficult to get this to melt off and go away. Hopefully we get the better end of this storm than the worse end, but we'll deal with whatever we get. So I just want to talk to you real quick about our winter maintenance operations, how we do that. We follow a winter maintenance plan. It provides a uniform understanding of our priorities and procedures and how we combat snow and ice with all different winter-related conditions on our public roadways. Each storm is unique and has different characteristics and factors, such as the intensity of the storm, the duration of the storm, wind, the temperature, the moisture content, all affects how we have to deal with that. This all affects the total amount of snow and ice accumulation, hence influencing the methodology we use to combat the resulting snow and ice-related conditions. Our Public Works Department attempts to maintain safe roadways for travel for the public. Residential streets will not always be free of ice and snow-packed pavement based on the size and the duration of the snow event. When we only get a couple inches of snow during an event, it's a lot easier for us to get everything treated and everything back to nice, clean asphalt in a pretty quick fashion. When you're looking at more than 4 to 5 inches of snow, and this time we're looking up to possibly a foot of snow, it will take a lot longer to deal with this. By the time we get to a lot of the secondary roadways, people have driven on them because everybody has to still get it in and out and get back and forth to work, get to appointments that they need to, and that packs that snow down and makes it extremely difficult for us to get it back down to the pavement. So it's been a while since we've had a large snow event. It was about last March when we had our last one. We had a little over 8 inches. Hopefully people remember that, and it does take a little bit of time to get around everywhere, but we'll get there eventually. So what roads get salted and plowed first? Like I said, first priority are our main streets listed in each area. We have the city split up in 5 different snow routes. There's a downtown route, there's a north end route, there's a Park Ridge route, the Shawnee route, and we have a Candlewood route. That's how we identify each one of our snow routes, just to identify them. Every route has main streets that we take care of first, and I identified each one of those streets on each one of the routes, so you can see what those are, and the residents can see what those are as well. And the downtown route, for example, US 36 East, that's one that we take care of first. Spring Street, Main Street, Wayne, Downing, Broadway, College, High Ash, Green, and North Street. And I also listed the streets, those are the main streets that we take care of, and I listed the streets, the in-between streets. So US 36, for example, we're treating, for the downtown route, they're taking care of between College and Garbury Road. That's their priority. We have one truck dedicated to each one of these routes. We will have 9 trucks available that we have ready and prepared for this snow event. We will have them out, hopefully, out on every shift as long as we can keep everything up and running. I will keep you all updated, hopefully every 4 to 6 hours, to let you know how the event is going, how we're doing. If we have trucks that are broke down, I will keep you informed of that. So if you're getting phone calls, you can let citizens know how we're doing, maybe why it's taking us a little bit longer, because it might be because I have 6 trucks sitting in my garage waiting to get repaired. It happens when you get these kind of events. They do tend to break down occasionally. So that's just one route and one example. You'll be able to read through this list through each route and see what we identify as main streets. And then as soon as we get these treated and taken care of, then we get out and get to the secondary streets. With the ice coming in first, the extra 4 trucks that we'll have out there on routes, I'm going to try to get into secondary streets, hopefully get a coating of salt down on the streets before the snow starts. and that's our goal. That's what we hope to be able to do, but it's all up to Mother Nature and what we get and how quickly those transitions happen and how much time we have to be able to make that happen.
I was going to ask, how's that work with rain coming in? Can you
Yeah,
even, like,
with the rain coming in, unfortunately, there's nothing we can go out and pre-treat or do anything ahead of time. All the salt residue that we have out there, that would have been a big help if that was still out there. If we would get ice on top of that, well, that would just already help start to melt that. We're probably going to get up to an inch of rain. That's going to rinse all the salt off of the roads that we have out there right now. So I'm going to have a staff on standby tomorrow. I'm just going to keep them here at work because we're not 100% sure exactly when this will start. Sometime probably between 5 o'clock and 8 o'clock in the evening. They're predicting that it's going to switch from rain to sleet and freezing rain, and I want to make sure that we can get out right away and start getting roads treated as soon as possible. So a few things to think about, just some tips to help keep our crew safe and to keep you safe while we're out salting and traveling. Give the plow and salt trucks plenty of room to maneuver when we're out there. When we're applying salt and plowing snow, the plow drivers are required to change lanes, back up, make more frequent stops and maneuvering multiple times, especially at intersections when we're removing snow from the roadway. It is important to leave as much distance as you can when you're behind a plow truck. Sometimes we have to make sudden stops. Our truck may have run out of salt. We have to lift our beds up to get salt back to the back and then drop them back down. When we have to do that, sometimes we just have to stop right in the middle of the street so we don't miss areas when we're treating out on the roadways. So please pay attention when you're out there. When you see our trucks out there, please slow down, give our drivers some extra space just to keep everybody safe when we're out there. Try not to pass the trucks when you see us out there. If you see the trucks out there, we're out there because the roadways are slick and we're trying to get them treated and make your travel as safe as possible. So just be careful when you see us out there. Think about when you're shoveling your sidewalks, when you're shoveling your driveways, try not to throw the snow back out into the roadway. It happens a lot. I see snow blowers pushing it back out into the street. I understand we're pushing it up on top of you. Just put it in your yard. It's not going to hurt anything. Try not to put it back out on the street. We don't want to have to come back, and we don't want to create another hazard or have to come back and plow little sections off because it got blown right back out into the street again. Thinking about the fire hydrants that are around your house, if there is a fire hydrant near your curb, please try to get it uncovered. We do not have enough staff to go out during or even after any snow event to uncover fire hydrants. So if you have one near you, if you or a neighbor or somebody can take care of that's well appreciated. One question that always comes up, what do I do about those large lumps of snow that end up at the end of my driveway when there's large amounts of snow out on the road? You know, snow plows typically leave large amounts of snow at the end of driveways because we are clearing the roadway from the center of the roadway to the curb. So we can make the streets passable, so you can hopefully park along your curb and keep the streets safe. If there's 8 inches of snow out on the middle of the roadway, the first pass we're pushing 8 inches. The second pass, now we're pushing about 16 inches. The third pass, we're pushing even more. And that is leaving a very large amount of snow, unfortunately, at the end of your driveway. There are thousands of drive approaches in Piqua, and we cannot possibly go around and clear every driveway approach in town. We do not have enough staff. We don't have enough funding to be able to do that. If you're able to, please go out and help your neighbor. You know, if you have an elderly neighbor, you know somebody that needs help, please go out and just try to give them a hand. I mean, we do our best. We don't want to bear you up and make it impossible for you to get out of the end of your driveway, but it's something that every community has to deal with that during a large snow event. It's a nature of that. And I don't like it any better than anybody else does. I have to clean my driveway out. I know the city manager does as well. We bury his as well as anybody else's. So, but no, it's not anything that we do intentionally. It's just the snow has to roll off one direction and it rolls off to the right. People have asked us in the past, well, you know, can't you straighten your blades out as you go down the curb line? Well, if we do that, the snow is just going to roll off 2 different directions. Now we're pushing snow back out into the street that we just cleared off, and we don't want to leave that back out there and have to make an additional pass down the road. You know, it has to go from the center of the road all the way over the curb. So just be careful when we're out there. We do the best that we can. And just be aware that we'll be out there 24 hours a day until we get everything cleaned up. If you have any questions during the event, don't hesitate to call our department. Our phone number is listed on the website. It's 778-2095. We're always happy to answer any questions. I put a couple old maps that we've used for quite a while in here. They're not real legible, but they're highlighted, and they roughly show the areas that we're taking care of on each route, and what the mains are that we take care of first are highlighted. The secondaries are off to the side. Once we get our GSI up to date, this is what one of our new maps will look like. This is 95% done. We don't quite have it finished to be able to publish it out there yet, but this is what it'll look like. The streets that you see out there highlighted in white, those are all the mains that we take care of in Piqua. Everything highlighted in blue that you see on that map are secondary streets. And very soon here, we'll be able to get that up on our website as well, so people can see that. If you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer anything that I didn't go over or explain.
Just from my standpoint, where I live at on the Shawnee Hill, my road, and I went out and drove around the town and looked at it after this last snow event that we had. When you guys come back to clear those secondary streets, the entrances that exit off the hills, I guess maybe if we can put a little bit more emphasis of salt on those, because there are multiple times that I go down there because I hear vehicles that can't get up onto Carr Street off of Main. So that prompted me to go out and take a look at some of these other streets that have entrances off hills. If we could start putting some emphasis on those for our citizens so they can access their roads as well after the main roads are done, that would be great.
Absolutely. There's always a little bit of a lag when you go to take off from an intersection too. There's a slight lag between when when everything starts to turn on and when you're salting. When you slow down and come to a stop, there's just a real short period of time. Those are tough areas, but we certainly will pay attention to that and do the best we can with that.
Great.
Thank you for the comment.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Do you know, for clarification, I remember last year during the snow event, there was a lot of comments about alleyways. Obviously, I think you're going to have your primaries, your secondaries. Where do alleyways stand on that?
We don't have the staff and capability to go through every alley. There's almost 30 miles of alleys in town, and we don't have the equipment to be able to go through and plow every alley out right now. That may be something that you want to look at in the future. That would be looking at getting probably some smaller equipment and trucks to get in and out of those alleys. Taking our bigger trucks through those alleys loaded down with salt and those bigger plows, they won't last long.
Yeah. And I understand, I just know there was a lot of comments, so I want to set those expectations for people to not count on that.
That's not something
And we've been
we'll-
talking a lot about the alleyways and maintaining them, and running those types of trucks are just really hard on them as it is.
Yeah.
But I just know a lot of people are concerned, waiting for them to get done, and just be aware that may not actually happen. So.
Yes.
If this storm comes through, Amy, how would that affect you on the alleyways that we still have service in?
Yeah, we'll do our best. We've always had that issue going in and out of alleys. They don't typically get plowed, so our trucks do the best they can. We have had some instances in the past where we just couldn't get down an alley safely, so we just either walked to get trash that we could get, or it just simply didn't get done that week. That's extremely rare, though. Our employees, typically want to get the job done.
Okay.
Thanks for that update. Really valuable. I love the list of the routes. That really helps understand and where they're at, because I know a lot of people it takes a few days, and the first part of it, you're just trying to keep up with the snow event.
Yeah,
That helps a lot.
Yeah, after you get an accumulating snow like that, when the snow stops, it takes us 8 hours, sometimes up to 8 hours or longer, just to get the mains completely cleared off. After the mains are done, it takes us 2 or 3 times that long to get through all the secondaries, because it's not just 1 or 2 passes down a lot of these streets. When you think about Looney Road, you think about State Route 36. That's 6 or 8 passes up and down each one of those roads to get the snow cleared from the center of the roadway to the edge. And then you're going back and salting that roadway as well. So it's very time consuming when you get a significant snowfall.
Did you say those routes were going to be published out there or put out there?
Yes.
Okay.
We'll try to get that out on the website tomorrow so people can look at that
That's
and
great.
see
Thank
what
you.
the priorities are. Yes.
So one other follow-up question that I have for some of our senior citizens that live on corner lots. I know a lot of the times, especially where the ADA ramps are at, you might see piles of snow that are 2, 5, 6 feet tall sometimes, depending on what the snow event looks like. Now, to me, when I look at that, our plows are pushing that up there. So, is there an expectation that we have to have them out there and get those cleared off? Because if you have a senior citizen, they can't go out there and move that much snow.
No, the expectation is not there. You're not going to be able to move that much snow, and we know that, and we understand that. When you get to a corner, you have to push it up on the corner. We can only move it so far. We don't want to push it too far up beyond the curb and the sidewalk. We don't want to get in the lawns, and I know you are looking at very, very large amounts of snow when you get around a lot of the corners, and we don't expect anybody, we know, no one has the equipment that we do to be able to take care of those larger.
Because I know that's one of the things, one of the comments that we received last year, well, it was from that March event that we had, that, you know, the city buried our sidewalks in, why do we have to go out and shovel them? And you don't know how to react to that. So, you know, being able to pass it on to our citizens that that plowed up snow is just, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, you know, when you're driving down the road, you can't push that snow at 5 miles an hour. It just rolls back off the blade the opposite way. You have to be going at a speed fast enough that it's rolling off the blade, and when it rolls off the blade, it rolls, you know, it rolls into the grass in between the curb and the sidewalk. It will roll up onto the sidewalk. I mean, we try not to get it up on the sidewalk, but we have to have enough momentum that that the truck continues to be able to go down the street. Because those, in heavy snows, even those big trucks will come to a dead stop if you don't have enough momentum.
Yeah. All righty, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Brian, would you put the cost of the event on our website?
We can certainly do
So
that.
that our citizens can see how many men, how many trucks, fuel, salt,
Yes.
each event costs.
Yeah, it's a great thing for everybody to see. That way, you know, if people would like, you know, a better response, more of a response, well, you know, it'll take more funding and vehicles and employees that we were able to put on each one of these events, and that really shows. I mean, this shows the total cost and what it takes to do all that.
So if you have 2 shifts, how many per shift trucks and men or equipment?
Yes, as long as we can keep all the vehicles running, we'll have 9 trucks out 24 hours a day.
Okay.
Now, understand, a few of our trucks are 2005 models. They're not very reliable and tend to break down more, but we have 5 extremely reliable vehicles. We've been very fortunate and have gotten us through most every storm that we've had with very little issues. So,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Please let your department know how much we appreciate them. I know especially the last event we had, they did a great job. A lot of good comments on Facebook about that, but it's not easy, and it's a lot of hours. It's a lot of frustrating hours at times, I think. You know, we've had those videos of people trying to plow in the midst of blizzard-like conditions, and we just hope they stay safe in the midst of trying to keep our streets clear. So please let them know how much we appreciate them.
Yes, thank you. Will do. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Just to add to that, what we'll be looking at next season, now that we have a GIS manager, will be an improvement to how we do things like snow and ice, which will be taking the GPS AVL functions from the trucks, which is essentially how you track a truck on a map using a Verizon box that's attached to the truck, shows you the geolocation of it. And so when you take that and you take the snow route maps, you can overlay the truck on the map to show you where you're at. And then if you go to the city of Dublin, they have something called SnowGo. And so we aspire to go to that, which shows the truck went by, the route's green, it's been freshly treated, and then over time it'll turn yellow, orange, red. So 4 to 6 hours later, you know there has been a truck there or not been a truck there. Those technologies are out there. They're affordable. They're accessible for us. We just haven't had a GIS person to help us integrate a lot of that technology. So next season we'll be doing that, as well as taking the snow routes. Right now, they're not evenly distributed when you look at the logistics of it. So we'll be doing that as well, so that they're more evenly spaced out. And the residents can get on and see, hey, when's my street going to be done, and when do you expect them to be back? Along those lines, tonight, the last thing I have on my report is follow up on the downtown truck traffic. And Yes, ladies, I would not forget you. So I did speak to the chief today and talked to him about the enforcement, and there was a lot of daytime enforcement that's been going on over the last several weeks. Not so much that they'd seen in the evening, especially after about 5 or 6 p.m. The trucks that they did witness, he had made phone calls to the actual companies and, informed them that they should not be driving through the downtown area. One in particular yelled at the truck driver not to do that. So the dispatch is well aware, but we get a lot better reaction from calling the business and letting the dispatchers know that they shouldn't be taking that route. Short of that, some of the improvements that we wanted to talk about are some of the signage. And so signage, the current state of the signage, and this is North Street, as you can see, it just shows where the state route is at. And so that doesn't exactly help a truck driver that's got their Garmin in their truck. They just want to go the shortest route from A to B. And so what we're going to do is put some improvements that will not only aid the truck driver, but it'll also assist the police with enforcement. By having the signs up, it's a lot easier to write those expensive tickets. So this is North Street. These are existing conditions at Water Street. As you can see, we're going to add some signage there that will also enhance the visibility and no-through trucks and local deliveries only, which that is the assumption. And lastly, over at Ash Street, we'll add these signs as well. So the signs have been ordered. Brian has them on order. We ordered the brackets, and unfortunately, the style of strain pole that we have, it's a very expensive and unique application, and so the vendor takes their time in getting us parts for that particular strain pole and mast arm. So we expect probably it could be as much as an 8 or 10 week lead time on the brackets themselves. As you know, industry right now trying to get anything takes forever, and so we're at the mercy of the vendor, but as soon as those items are received, we'll be sure that we do social media blast to let everybody know that those have been installed. And then I would assume that the chief of police will continue his enforcement efforts. If you do see a vendor, some truck, contractor driving down the street, if you want to grab the name, shoot me an email, the chief of police an email. We'll make a phone call and put them on notice and let them police it internally.
I just want to say that I saw the police stop a truck last Thursday in the morning, and Mindy asked how it was going, and I said, here's a picture. But they stopped someone, and they had their written ticket.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I appreciate the work they do because they're plenty busy, but they do fill in and do that when they're requested. So, Aside from that, that's my report for this week. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Next, we'll move on to the commissioners' comments, and we'll start with Commissioner Pearson.
Thank you. With this event coming up, I think we all need to check our neighbors, make sure that everybody's okay. I know on my street I've got a couple elderly people, and we do a lot of shoveling, and they appreciate it so much. Another thing, the Piqua Library is hosting a lot of programs that are free for children. They have a program called Book Buddies. There's a Lego club. For adults, there's a genealogy program. And on Wednesday, February 23rd at 6:30, there's a program that is being presented by John Pyatt and Yuri Denny. They're presenting a Black History program, Black History in America. And one of the topics was the Randolph slaves and how they ended up being out here in our own backyard. So that's, I think, would be very interesting to attend. Also on our website is the Low Dam information. We've had several meetings about that, the removal of the dam, whether or not folks are for or against, but there's a lot of information. I suggest you check it out. And that's all I had.
Thank you. We'll move on to Commissioner Hines.
Just same thing, just check on your neighbors and make sure that your elderly neighbors, if they need something, maybe pick it up at the store for them so they have what they need for this event. More than likely, it's going to be a couple days before many of us can get out, so just make sure you have what you need for preparedness. I have to say, I a lot of times bring things from the high school. It's because my son is a high school student. He's a senior this year. And I just want to give a huge shout out to the Piqua Show Choir, the company, and Audio Hype, their band. We have had 3 competitions. We have taken home grand champion in 2 of them, and we were first runner-up in 1 this past weekend. We were grand champions and basically swept all of the caption awards as well. So we had 69 points. We were 69 points ahead of all the other choirs there. So it's really a huge deal. It's been a great year considering all the craziness that we have had. And if weather allows, we are headed to Hurricane West Virginia this Saturday for a competition there. So congratulations to all those folks in the show choir. Also, the last thing I want to say is Who Day. Who Day. The Cincinnati Bengals are going to the Super Bowl. So we are all excited about that, and we look forward to Super Bowl Sunday. So that is all I have.
Great, thank you. Commissioner Grissom.
Thanks. Yeah, I was going to say I'm optimistic about 22. If Cincinnati can go to the Super Bowl, anything can happen. So, man, it's going to be a good year. So, can we shoot off fireworks if they win? Yeah. I was just kidding. Really, that's not too much. We talked a lot about the winter weather that's coming up. Brian, thank you and your staff immensely for the efforts they're going to put in. It doesn't go unchecked. And really, that's it. Be safe out there.
Great, thank you. I only have a few things to talk about tonight. So one thing that I got to bring up, when the emergency vehicle went out, the light across the way flashed on the pole, and it reminded me the one on East Main is not working at all. Emergency vehicle come across there the other day, and the white light did not come on. So I don't know if we need to look into that, who's responsible, but that needs to be looked at. So that way, you know, the pedestrians can see what's going on with that. Another thing, something that I talked about with the power department, I want to say maybe about a year and a half ago, was the conversion of LED lights inside of our city. And ever since then, Ed and his staff have been doing a bang-up job with the technology that's out there, and the technology continues to be better, and it's driving prices down. So at the last board meeting that we had, I requested from Ed on the amount of street lights that have been converted over. Currently, right now, the city has 2,955 street lights. Those are the ones that are out in the residence and also around the downtown community area, the ones that have the high sulfur bulbs in them, the orange ones. Currently, right now, 22%, that's 648, have been converted to LED, with 78% remaining, of course. So, you know, that's something that's going to help our community out get into this LED conversion, because that does help with a pass-through rate that goes out to our citizens. Regardless, every town has it. Every town citizen has to pay for the street lights that are out there. But being able to convert to an LED is going to help save some dollars. Don't know what the percentage is, but I know it might be cents, and good sense makes sense to me. So great job on that, Ed, and I look forward to seeing the city continue to go to the LED side. It may take 3 years, but eventually we will be there. It's all dependent on price and time for our workers to get out there and get that done. Been seeing the trash. It seems like a lot of the stuff from the trash is dying down. Conversion seems to be going well there, so I greatly appreciate the efforts from the city staff and also the residents on that. The other thing that I have is we have some committee openings that are coming up. Board of Zoning Appeals has one opening. It's a 5-year term. That one kicks off March 1st. All these will be kicking off March 1st. Planning Commission has one opening, 5-year term. Park Board has 3 openings. And Golf Advisory Board has 2 openings, and that is the only one that is a 4-year term. So I'm going to encourage the citizens to get out and get their applications put in for those, get involved in the community, and help support these boards as much as possible. Another thing that the city manager has come to the commission about is making the commissioners liaisons to the departments within our city. And it'll help realign the commissioners, and it's going to help drive the meetings in a different direction to where we're not solely relying on the city manager to be able to answer questions. It's so the city will be able to engage their city commissioners that they've elected and put up here, and we should be able to start answering questions. And in essence, it'll make commissioners, I don't want to say subject matter experts, but it'll give them that chance to meet with the directors on a monthly basis, bi-monthly basis, and start gaining knowledge from those departments so we can answer questions as they come up. And the assignments currently right now are going to be Commissioner Lee. He will be with fire and police, being that that's where he come out of, is the safety, so he's going to have a great understanding of that. Commissioner Grissom is going to be working with utilities. That's going to be all the utilities, including power. Commissioner Pearson is going to take over Parks and Rec and Sanitation. Commissioner Hines is going to go through Public Works and Engineering, and I will be working with Finance, IT, and Human Resources. So when specific questions come up from the citizens, you guys will know that you guys can go directly to those commissioners at that point in time to start asking questions. As we integrate this, I'm saying it's probably going to take about a good 6 months for the commissioners to grasp a hold of this concept and start working with the directors, so please be flexible, but also I'm going to encourage the citizens to start reaching out to the commissioners for those questions and start to gain those answers. And the other thing is, we talked about, or one thing that I talked about was community engagement. And the other night we held a meeting in regards to a comment that Commissioner Pearson talked about the Lowhead Dam located down by the power plant, the old power plant. And there was a citizen that brought up a question, and it was about, are we going to do any more community engagements on these? To my understanding, this was the 6th community engagement that we did in regards to this specific issue. And looking around the plaza when we were up there, we were in the 4th floor. We had enough seating for probably 55 people, and there was 20 people there. And it seems to be the same 20 people that show up to all these meetings. I guess I got to ask from the citizens, you guys ask us to make the best informed decisions that we can make for our city. However, without the input from our citizens coming to these meetings and sharing their thoughts and feelings, you guys are putting all that weight on top of 5 commissioners' shoulders. And if we make the wrong decision, we're the ones that get thrown under the bus. And our city administration, they get thrown under the bus. So going forward, I got to come out and say it. You have to charge the citizens in coming out and sharing their thoughts and feelings and bridging that gap between the commission and the city administration. If they can't do that, we can't make correct decisions on what the feelings and thoughts are of our citizens. So I'm asking everybody, when we hold these public meetings for these specific issues, please talk to your neighbors, get them involved, and come out to these meetings and share your thoughts. We're here to listen. We're here to take your thoughts and ideas and put them down on paper and make the best informed decision. But without those, it's going to be up to us, and we're going to make the best decision what we have to from our seats. So with that being said, I'll get off my soapbox here and ask for an adjournment for this evening's meeting.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second.
Motion and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Adjourned.